Okay, I think we're live. Let's go here. Super annoying. Okay. Kill the volume on that so that we don't get echo. And it's not following my hand motions here. It's just stuck. Okay, camera's working from here. Don't know what's wrong with the YouTube end of things. I'm going to double check that again. Okay, we're just getting a laggity lag. I'm seeing that. So back to OBS, which actually shows what I'm doing live. Top chat. No, I want live chat. Let's see. Okay, so today I'm going to talk a bit about Comicsgate and Ethan Van Sciver drawing this Joker. And let me, oh, Jesus, things like blocking me. Wait a minute, let me move my commentary over here. So now it's not showing up. Oh, okay, here we go. So I'm gonna draw this guy and rap a little bit about Comicsgate if I can ever get this set up. OBS is not quite as easy to use as StreamYard, but I don't have to pay for it, so here we go. Back to video capture. Okay, Ethan mentioned sometime in the future he was going to draw the Joker. He's going to do his own live stream how to draw the Joker. So I'm going to try this based on the animated series because I'm sure his is going to be much more complicated. This particular Joker is fairly simple. Of course, I'm balancing that with reading the script, so who knows. Okay, so Comicsgate is somewhat controversial, so much so as to, I suck at this. It's controversial, so much so that to be seen as part of Comicsgate can close doors. Marvel and DC would never hire anyone associated with Comicsgate. On the other hand, Comicsgate can help an artist's name get out there and promote sales. Comicsgate definitely has a lot of fans who buy books, as opposed to a lot of the SJWs who talk a lot of shit but don't really read or buy comics. They just want to ruin it for everybody else. A number of people don't like this, but the fact is that Ethan Van Sciver is the current face and leader of Comicsgate, even if it's a job he may not particularly want. Ethan owns a Comicsgate copyright and can prevent people from using that moniker if he wants. Unlike big corporations who are all over people all the time about their copyrights, EVS has so far had a very light touch on his Comicsgate copyright. Generally, don't be an asshole and you won't have problems being part of Comicsgate. An example would be putting out a nasty porno comic under the Comicsgate name. That's generally a bad look, and yeah, Ethan will send lawyers to tell you to fuck off. One of the biggest comics controversies is late books. On one end, you have books delivered on time. On the other end, you have some that are years late. And the worst is books promised but never delivered. Talking about you, Claymore. Oh, B. Claymore, actually. Great Big Hawaiian Dick. Estimated delivery 2015. Last update 2022. Never delivered. I guess we know who the big dick is, and it's not the fictional detective. I'll point out that B. Claymore is not part of Comicsgate, but he's a good example of what not to be. Seriously, fuck off if this is who you are. Then you have guys like EVS and Richard Meyer, who are years late, but do eventually finish and deliver their books. I understand comics are hard. You are looking at first scripting a book, then minimum 20 pages, average 5 panels per page. It's 100 drawings that have to be sketched, ink colored, and lettered. That's a lot of work, and it's amazing that it's able to get done on a monthly basis by Marvel and DC. Marvel and DC, being large, organized corporations, both have teams of creators on each comic. So people work for there don't have to deal with fulfillment, as a company handles that, compared to comic crowdfunders that have to deal with everything and are typically 1 or 2 people. So it's absolutely understandable that a crowd-funded comic takes much longer to create than releases from Marvel and DC. But there has to be some kind of time limit. A good start would be picking a more honest fulfillment date. Sales may be lost from people who don't want to wait, but on the other hand, less actual customers will be pissed off. I think Ethan fucked up by releasing multiple book projects at the same time. He probably meant well, but that practically guarantees late books, as you can only work on one at a time. Unlike a lot of his critics, I don't think it was malicious. I just think he bit off more than he could chew. My suggestion for crowdfunders is this: if humanly possible, don't be more than a year late getting the book done. From what I've seen, most customers will wait patiently that long before getting ugly. If the book is done but there are fulfillment issues, the backers will usually get a bit longer before they get upset. Moving on, a common criticism of CG is their books suck. Really, because there are a group of talented pros who create some of those comics, and a blanket statement that every single one of them sucks is just not true. Like any other group, the talent stack is going to vary. I think they all suck sounds like jealousy and spite. Try picking individual creators to criticize and be specific about what you don't like about their work. Looks like drawing at the same time isn't working for me. You know, one thing and the other. If the main complaint is you don't like the way they vote, fuck off. Ironic, and Niobe Comics showed up on EVS stream to crap on him. Now I actually watched one of Niobe's videos. I couldn't figure out which of the other one he had, which was Anti-Comicsgate. And his big beef was late books. I guess he claims he's been waiting 5 years, and it's understandable that he's upset. But he's kind of an odd duck in that he basically, one of the things he mentioned, it's almost like he blames Comicsgate for this, is he got canceled by SJWs for no shit 5 years. And the reason he gives, and personally I'll just choose to believe him on this, it probably is true, is he was at a convention, a couple of people were talking about, what's his name, Vic, of course, I'm having a total brain fart. But there's a voice actor and pretty famous, and he got Me Too'd. You know, there was charges of sexual harassment against him. And so there were a couple of people near Niobe Comics. Larry. Larry's the name of the guy from Niobe Comics. There's a couple of guys named Larry, near Larry's booth, and they were talking about that, probably shit-talking Vic, and so Larry just asked a question, which was, how do you know Vic's guilty? And no shit, the fucking pussies went and complained to the people who were in the comic book convention, and he got banned. And that spread like cancer. So I guess he got banned pretty much from any, at least this is the impression that I got, is he got banned from basically almost all of them. And I guess he got hassled getting his books out to stores too. My memory isn't that great on that level of details. So basically, this shit went on for 5 years, and these SJWs cost him a shit ton of money. I mean, he basically was limited to crowdfunding, and he didn't have really any other outlets to sell his books. And then he's talking about how glad he is to get back in with these assholes. And so he's all bent out of shape with Comicsgate, who literally did nothing to him. And the people who shit on him for 5 years, he's going on about how much glad he is to be, reaccepted by these people. People who fucked him over. And that, I can't figure that out. Why isn't he pissed with those people? I mean, I guess he thinks, there is, route to DC or Marvel, getting a job working full time with them. But, dude, you're 50 years old. It ain't fucking happening. Marvel and DC ain't going to hire you, especially since you've actually come out and said, well, okay, I'm not part of Comicsgate, but I'm still a conservative. They don't want to hire conservatives. They want to hire Twitter twinks that they can pay shit money for. So, you're not getting a Netflix deal either. Just give it up. Just keep crowdfunding your books and stop brown-nosing SJWs, because they're not going to fucking help you. Big deal. They let you back into conventions, and you have to walk on tippy toes because, God forbid, you say one fucking thing they disagree with, you're going to get hosed. People like that, they just fucking suck. You are not going to get back. Like I said, you're not going to get rich from those shitheads. And, pissing on, Comicsgate or Ethan Van Sciver, it's not going to really help you. In fact, one of the issues was you're already under threat of lawsuit from Ethan. And honestly, you might be right, because I looked at your stream, and you basically accused EVS, or Ethan is, EVS sometimes he's known as, of fraud. And here's the thing, you might have a case for that because, like I said, you didn't get your book. And he's not overly responsive, I guess, to commentaries in, the fulfillment site he has. There are a lot of people complaining about that. But here's the thing. If Canada, the country where you live, says, well, we're going to hear that lawsuit, you lose. You lose. The cops have a saying, you can beat the rat, but you can't beat the ride. Well, the ride is a very expensive trial that you can't afford, and Ethan can. So even if, it doesn't matter. If you win, 2, 3, 4, however fucking long that trial goes on for, years later, you're still going to be broke. And he won't be. So, was it worth it? Okay, you made your point. You prove that you were, correct in your assertion. But you don't have a lot of money as it is. And if you're owing lawyers, big bills, you lost. You won, but you lost. So the only thing, from what I recall, that Ethan asked for was you basically not... Just basically, when you say, this guy's committing fraud, just add, in my opinion. I know it's annoying and you're pissed off because you think he ripped you off, but it's just not worth the lawsuit. Okay, binka. And yes, I'm not the greatest artist out there. I'm just basically kind of a hack cartoonist. Definitely not a comic artist. And this picture's kind of dark on his hair, so I'm having trouble there actually seeing it. Okay. So here's his pointed area, and this is why I do pencil. I've seen people just go right to ink, and that would never work for me. I mean, I just make too many fucking mistakes. So let's see here. And speaking of art, let's do a little art blab here. Since I'm done talking about Larry. Larry's going to be Larry the loser if he decides to get involved in a lawsuit with somebody with a shit ton more money than he has. I can actually give you an example of that. I worked with somebody who many years ago created his own little baby ISP. You know, it was a little business that he wanted to grow. And this is way back in the days of when Napster was just kind of file sharing was just getting starting. And so he actually got a threat letter from the RIAA shitheads. If you're old enough, you remember that's the Recording Industry of America. I forget what exactly it stands for. It's big music. It's the record companies. Because some people were, you know, using a service or sharing, you know, music files. And so he went to his lawyer and they said to him, look, you're not responsible for that. You're 100% right. And if it goes to trial, you'll win, but they'll bankrupt you. You know, it will cost you way more money than you can afford. And so he was basically pinched out of the business by a bunch of rich dicks. And I'm not calling, you know, Ethan a dick, but he can definitely, you know, impoverish you. I mean, I'm not, make your own decision, but if you want to go to trial thinking, I'm going to win, well, yeah, you will, but the only real victory you could possibly have is if the judge said they weren't going to take the case. Then you'd win. Because it wouldn't be that much money at that, lawyer money on your part, you know, at that point. So anyway, off to Art Blab here. Now, Ethan had a video a while ago. It's like 7 years ago, like supplies to get if you want to draw comics. And you can find that. Let's see here. Now, of course, I was going to figure out how to type out words on this thing. Again, I'm using OBS. It's more complicated than... It's way more complicated than StreamYard, which is why guys pay like $30-40 a month to StreamYard. But I'm on a budget, and I can't fucking afford that. And they do have a free service, but this thing I'm using now, OBS, is unlimited. And I'm not doing it right now, but I can do multi-stream. I can add guests. I'm not set up for that, but I can do all that, and it's all free. You know, I don't make enough money to fork up, you know, $40 a month to StreamYard. And then the last, few streams that, EVS, Ethan Van Sciver's done, he's been complaining because StreamYard made some changes that he doesn't like that makes things harder for it to use. So I don't want to fucking deal with that. I mean, if I don't upgrade this, OBS, which is Open Broadcast Studio, it doesn't change. So is it a pain in the ass to learn? Yes, it is. But once you learn it, you don't get fucked over by, unwanted changes. It is what it is. So let's see. Sources here. Let's see if I can add tests, because I want to give the URL to EVS's old art stream. I think it's useful to anybody that wants to start. Here we go, text. So let's see how this works. Text GDI. So create new text. So here we go. So let's see here. No, that's not what I want. So Ethan's probably going to hate me if he ever watches this, because I'm not really experienced. So I do a lot of rambling, mumbling, grumbling. But I think I do at least get my point across. Okay, here we go. Copy. Okay, so paste. So let's see, text transform. No, we don't want to test transform. Gradient. It'd be nice if I could get this text to be a little smaller, but it looks like I'm not being offered that. So let's kick this up. And holy shit, that's way too fucking big. Again, can't. Oh, size 256. Jesus Christ, no wonder. Okay, so we shrink it a little bit, and I gotta shrink a little more. 72, 48. Still not shrunk. Let's see here. So 90. Okay. Okay, so let's drag that. Down to here. Can I change the color on this? Okay, here we go. Select color. So let's see if that. Okay, yeah, that's not that visible. So I'll try that again. I want something really visible over everything. Okay, so maybe a hideous green will work. Okay, and can we pinch this in here? Let's bring this up here. Maybe black would be better since this is all white. So select color. Black, okay. So here we go. So that's the URL to EVS's stream on ArtStream, and my suggestion is you go there. God damn it. Okay, go there, do everything he says, get everything he says. I think they left out one thing. Is if you're getting a 2.0 millimeter mechanical pencil, you may need to get a lead sharpener. A lot of them come with that, but from what I hear, the external ones are better. So you might as well cough up a little more and get that. So basically, he recommended a styler, which is very good. Here we go. Here's my little box of pencils. So he's dealing specifically with comics, so you basically only need one pencil for that. But I'm a sketch guy, so I do a lot of shading, so I have a whole bunch of pencils. Oh, of course I grabbed the wrong one. Jesus Christ. Okay, so he basically recommended a much more expensive, better version of this. I got this as a set. It's 2 millimeter lead. You can see the lead. I'll extract it a little more. Of course, you wouldn't actually want to have it that long. It's rather thick. So my recommendation is you get, okay, sort. You get a 0.7 millimeter, and you want the tip to look like this. Okay, as compared to the one I use for freehand is the Sumo Grip, and I don't know if you can see the difference very much, but that has an angled tip. This is straight. And the reason why you want to get this is because one of the things EVS recommended is a couple of templates. And this type of tip works better with templates than an angled one. This is basically meant for writing and math and freehand sketching like I was doing here. But again, this will do all of that too. Plus, it will work with your template. So as far as brands go, you can't get this one. This is a discontinued. It's a Papermate Forte. But they do make one called a Sharp. So just pick that up in 0.7 millimeter, and it will do you very well. And the advantage of these is you never have to sharpen it. You do have to sharpen a 2.0 lead, not this. And if the lead is too... And if the lead, if you think it's a little too, how do I say this, thick, you can always drop down and get a 0.5. In fact, mechanical pencils are pretty cheap. I mean, unless some of them are expensive. There's a Rotring 800 that goes for like $60. Well, you can get it for less, but you know what I mean. It's kind of pricey. But most, you can get halfway decent ones for around a little over or a little under $10. Now these will come with default 2HB leads, which is like every pencil you ever buy pretty much has that. There is one exception, and that is this. This is a new Papermate Sharp Writer, and you can tell the difference from the old ones because the old ones... Okay, let me extract this. Because the old ones are a mustard yellow, more reminiscent of a wood pencil. In fact, there's a guy called Adam Savage who did a whole stream bitching about how much he hates this new color. But the big difference that actually matters is this thing uses a 2H lead. God only knows why they switched to that, because it's not, most people don't like it for writing. In fact, they complain about leads breaking because they're pressing down too hard to try and get, the darkness level that they're getting from 2HB, and you're not getting that from a 2H. But for an artist, I mean, if you work in an office or know somebody who does, you can get this for free. So, if you want you want to experiment with a 0.7, harder lead, why not? I mean, it'll cost you nothing. And the other big cheapo pen you find, mechanical pencil you find in offices is the Bic. Now, this is just a regular standard 2HB, so it's not like hard. But again, it's free. So if you're on a budget and you don't want to buy any of these, and your office supply cabinet has one of both of these, again, why not? Pick them up. But buy the I can't even pronounce it, Stadler that EVS bought with the thick lead like this. Then if you're out of money, get some free art supplies from your cabinet. I mean, they probably don't have templates, but they get rulers too. I know I'm probably I don't say immoral, but a little on the shady side, encouraging, pilfering of office supplies. But I'll temper that by saying just don't be greedy. Don't walk out with boxes of stuff. Just take, one or two of these, and you're going to be all set. And then with the rest of the supplies that Ethan recommends, you'll be perfect. You'll be golden. So let's see, back. Okay, that's staying out. And I'll probably keep rambling for a little bit, although I think I pretty much had to say what I had to say about Comicsgate, which I actually do support. So even though I criticized Ethan on books being a little too late, it's not something that's unrectifiable. And I think probably from what he was saying, his next books will probably be out a little quicker. Just so my feelings are this. First of all, if you're thinking about buying his or any other Comicsgaters books, take a look on eBay first and get one of the older ones. Like get an earlier Cyberfrog, because that way you'll know whether you like the art or the story. And you'll get it immediately. And then if you like it, just be aware. You're gonna have to wait probably gonna have to wait a couple of years. I mean, if it comes earlier, that's just a blessing. But be prepared to wait a couple of years. If the only exception I'd have to say is if you're in a hospital hooked up to a machine, one of those machines goes beep, 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 and then maybe another one, that's strapped onto your face, and you're going, then yeah, you might not want to order a book that's going to take 2 years to get to you. Or put your friend's or relative's address to it, not yours. But overall, other than me being a wise ass, yeah, it's a recommend. I mean, EVS is a very good artist, so you're probably not going to get any complaints there. You might just be a little annoyed having to wait. But again, like I said, you know what to expect. This isn't like the oldies. Oh, this is coming out crappy. Let's see. Am I getting the space right here? Let's see. Probably not. Okay, here's his eyes, over his nose. Dinka. Okay, I'll probably make some corrections, like it's much sharper than that. Okay. There we go. Here we go. It's kind of a weird shape. And his face is actually fatter in the picture. But I never said it was perfect. This is draw by reference, so whatever. Nobody's paying me to do this, so if it doesn't come out looking jokerish enough. Okay, looks like he's got kind of horn here. He's got kind of the crack look to his eyes, so we'll thicken that up a little bit. Again, this is just my preliminary sketch. Looks like they didn't give him eyeball pupils. So I will stick with that, okay, boinka, 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 boinka. Very pointy nose. And boy, who looks confused here? I look confused. So, okay, we'll give him his jawline here. His big, angry Joker smile, because in case you didn't know, and everybody fucking knows this, the Joker is an angry dude. He's not happy. Okay, so we'll raise that up a little bit. So here we go. Okay, he does have an ear here. Okay, this cartoon, they gave him like really pointy ears, and I kind of don't get that. I'm not complaining, it's an interesting look, but the Joker's human. He's not like a demon. And I'm going to make a few variants here that probably won't be loved by anybody who watches this, but fuck it. The variant I'm going to make is I'm going to make him into kind of a demon. Because let's say he gets sick of getting his ass kicked by Batman, so he took a little dope, a little genetic enhancement, and the resulting of which is he is now not human. He's much stronger in his natural weapons like teeth. And yeah, I know. Oh, this is dumb. You shouldn't have drawn a Joker that way. Fuck you. Again, nobody's paying me, so I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Okay, so let's get out this old Tombow mono eraser. To take care of the things I shouldn't have drawn in the first place, because I've got something that's my favorite thing. He speaks with forked tongue. That's a little too straight. We might curve this out a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. So he's definitely more of a demon. We'll fatten up his lips. And again, I never claimed to be a professional artist, so there's probably going to be a lot of hate in this Joker, but fuck it. Yeah, his. I should have made his face a little wider, but fuck it. Okay. Boink. Okay, there's a lot of shading here, which makes drawing this by reference rather more difficult. Can you talk and draw at the same time? Well, maybe if I had a little more talent, that would work better. Okay, that is part. Okay, that's not really hanging down anything. Let's make it more like this. That's a lot easier to see. Okay, I'll change the perspective just a tiny bit. Okay, this is here. Collar like that. Okay. Gotta make his bow tie a little bit higher. So friggin' shoot me. Friggin' shoot me. So okay, I'm too lazy to get a template. So he's got like a very crudely drawn flower in that picture. That almost looks more like a button. So it's hard to see what it's pinned to. So I'm gonna switch that to. I'm just gonna pin this to the lapel and make it a little more flowery. At least attempt to. Never said I was very good at drawing flowers. More of a claws, blood, and teeth kind of guy. So there you go, boink. You don't get to see his collar because it's hidden under there. So I guess we'll do this. And one thing I noticed is it's not a lot of shading in this, at least in the picture. And that makes sense because this is a cartoon. I mean, this is from an animation, not just a static cartoon. So what that means is, now let's say you do a comic, like I said earlier, a 20-page comic has about 100 panels to it. Compared that to an animation, which is 24 frames per second. So literally every second there's like 24 drawings of the Joker, so you're not going to get a huge amount. Oh, of course, I got a shitty cough coming on. You're not going to get the level of detail that you'd get in a comic. Like if they ever made a Cyberfrog cartoon, Cyberfrog's a pretty complex character. They would have to simplify it. I mean, there's just no choice. Either that or it would take years to do. So let's see. Let's add in my own shading here. What I want to use to shade with. Maybe just start off the regular pencil. Alright, this point sucks, so. So here we go. Let's see. This is a little too rough. This is a Sumo Grip. It's probably the fattest mechanical pencil I've ever seen. So if somebody likes thick writing implements, they would love this. On the other hand, somebody with teeny tiny hands, not so much. So I get pretty much the biggest and then one of the smallest. Compare that to a Zebra. This thing is tiny. Now this is to go between. That's the average size for a mechanical pencil. So teeny tiny, medium, and fatty. This thing's fatter than Ethan. Okay, cheap shot, but couldn't help myself. Okay, so let's see. Push that up there. One thing about sketching, if you're not going to ink, you definitely want a bunch of different lead hardnesses. So this is your standard 2HB, which every friggin' pencil on Earth pretty much has, unless you're specifically looking at art pencils. Then you start getting your variations. So what I usually do is I'll start basic shading with just something like this, your standard 2HB. and then I'll go over it with something darker. Now, dark pencils are definitely great for shading, but they can be a real pain in the ass because the darker the pencil, the more of a smudge you're going to get. You have to be really careful, and if you're uncoordinated like me, yeah, be prepared to get bucked. Scritcher, scritcher, scritcher. And again, if EVS is watching this, I'm sure he could easily point out every miserable fucking thing I'm doing wrong here. Which is probably a lot. Again, this is not being drawn to be inked. It's just going to be sketched and shaded. Let's see. Pinch this in more. I think part of the reason 2HB is so popular is basically the standard is because it's dark enough you'll never have trouble seeing anything you write in it, generally speaking, but it's not very smudgy. So for like test taking, sometimes they'll actually have a B pencil, because if it's something that's going to be read by a machine, you want something a little bit darker. So the way they go is 2HB, B, 2B, 3B. Each incrementation is softer. For the other end, you'd have 2HB, H, 2H, 3H, and on. Which again is something I'm sure is just everybody who does any kind of art already knows that probably better than me. Okay, let's see, we're getting that lighter. Streak in his hair. I think that's been up long enough, so we'll take that out. And again, that's what I'm using as a reference. So let's see. Get back up there, Mr. Joker. On the YouTube screen, but on my screen. It would be interesting to see VS do a Joker draw stream. I have no doubt whatsoever that his Joker would be much more complex than this one. Because he did a Batman draw stream, and his Batman was definitely more complicated than the cartoon one. But again, we're dealing with a still shot compared to an animation that has to be repeated thousands and thousands and thousands of times, each one a little bit different to simulate movement. Okay, back to this because his ear's starting to fade. Don't do that. So let's see. I'm going to leave the hair alone. I could definitely make it darker, but then for now. But then I got to deal with, the smudge factor, which I don't want to deal with. So he did not have a white streak. So let's see. I'm going to start with a 4H pencil, so it will be obviously lighter without me having to put a huge amount of effort. Super scratchy, but that's the nature of lighter pencils. Away. Okay, so that's darkened up a bit, and I want that a little bit darker, so I'm going to try this Sharpie, which when I tested it out seemed to have a 2H lead. It's definitely pretty hard, but not in 4H territory. Because I wouldn't recommend buying a sharp writer unless, you got a bunch of kids or maybe you're traveling. But, if you can get this for free, why not? Free from the office cabinet. Yeah, I'd say definitely go for it. Okay. Let's see here. So we'll do a little bit of shading under his nose, which you see in the cartoon. He's got a little bit of shading under his eyes. He has an extra liney line. page. Actually, points. Let's see here. Let's see, 2B. Let's see, H, no. B, no. It's always the last fucking thing you're looking for, every time. And don't tell me it doesn't exist. Finally, 2H. About the same as this. But I'm hoping to get a little bit wider lead. I want to make his lines a little bit darker and fine. So one thing I do is I got a whole bunch of different mechanical pencils. So I tend to put a different lead in each one so I remember what's what. This is a 0.05 with a 4B lead. So let's see here if I can retrace his jaw. Get a nice solid line here so the shading doesn't kind of overwhelm. Lines. Okay, so as you can see, that's actually quite a bit darker. I guess this is kind of the pencil version of inking. So we're definitely bringing in the darkness. I think this is probably the point where most of the audience has fled in boredom. So let's see here. Let's bring back Mr. Joker. And yeah, this is a number 4, so we're probably dealing with smudgy time. Number 4B. Okay, so 0.07, 2B. So this is dark, but not quite as dark. And thicker. outline on this Joker, I've noticed a very fine line. So 0.05 works good for that. Okay, we're going to use a teeny tiny eraser to... He's going to try to. Well, that's not working very well. See if the Ticky's erase is any better. Engineering or drafting mechanical pencils, there's always some knucklehead that'll come up and say, I don't like the teeny tiny eraser. And what they don't understand is that you get a lot of tight corners. You know, you're doing, engineering job, you need a small eraser not to erase everything else around it. And that happens to work really well for sketches too. So no, the teeny tiny eraser is definitely not a bad thing at all. Okay, this is a Ticky. It's just got your typical 2HB lead. You want the darker lead for the outlines. And as you can see, you can definitely compare this to this. That 4B is definitely bringing it in. You can really see the difference. Down here. Downtown with James Brown. I would actually love to be playing some music. But Google, which owns YouTube, is really shitty when it comes to that. I mean, they'll don't like what you're playing because it's, copyright, and they don't have agreement with whoever it is or whatever. They'll just kill your stream. So it's just not worth the risk. So here we go. So again, I never claimed to be a professional artist. Best, I'm just a hack cartoonist. Dump. Oh, I'm running out of gas here. Okay, yep. Advance the lead some more. Okay. So, how do I want to fill in his? So that's definitely showing up a lot better. Now it's just kind of shading time, or cleanup too. So yeah, we do want to clean this up just a little bit. And of course, it always involves erasing what you don't want. My excuse for laziness is no one's paying me to do this. So I can kind of get away with a little bit of indolence. Check. Yep, this is a 2H pencil. Actually, want this a little bit darker. So we'll go back to 2HB. And again, I fucked up on proportions, and oh well. Once again, no one is paying me to do this. Again, definitely not to EVS standards, but on the other hand, definitely kind of recognizable as the Joker, even with the fangs and the long tongue. So I'm going to add what this cartoon doesn't have, and that's a little bit more subtlety in the shading. Just a little. There. 4B, so there you go. Okay. You can see I haven't done much with shading over here because my hand's already smudging shit. It's like, oh, fuck you. Childish scribbling. And you definitely want things darker in here. Yes, you do. So let's see, where is that 2H lead? Because we don't want this white. We definitely don't want it nearly as dark. This picture, and again, you really get to see what the difference in lead hardness means between this and this. Pencil sharpened a little more than I like. Bank, bank. Wah. Sound of the city. His bow tie is very dark, so we're gonna lay on a super smudgy 6B. This lead is almost charcoal-y. No live chat, so I got the usual 0 views, but I don't blame the public. They absolutely have better things to do with their time than watch my crappy videos. Okay, so there you go, 6B, 2B. The Joker is very pale, so I'm not going to shade that in at all. Except the outer shading, which would be like right here. And a little bit of low effort flower shading. Vega. And let's see again. Little ranky dink. Erase this for cleanup. And you can see the wonderful smudge. So we'll try and get rid of that. Bring back a little more white. To this. So let's see. So where's the 4H? Let's see, here's 2H. It's annoying. Super easy to lose things. Here we go. Again, his shirt is not white. It's actually a rather light shade of green, but okay, speaking of white, inside of his mouth is way too bright. So we'll try and darken that up. How is he not drawing over the smaller teeth, which have a very annoying tendency of doing? Yeah, even with that. Definitely looking better with a darker shade inside his open mouth. There we go. So let's see here. Let's do a little tongue shading. So you've ran out of gas as far as vocals go. That's something that never happens to the experienced streamers. They never run out of shit to say. Me, eh. Get a little more darkness in there. Alright. It's going to be old man's nappy time. Being old sucks. Oh, fucking energy. Okay, so I'm gonna do the shoulder shading here just like I did with the other one. Let's just a little more trivia. This is a Papermate Clear Point. I'm running a 2B lead in this, and these are not liked at all by the mechanical pencil community because they have a reputation for breaking. Now, I guess I got lucky because I've had this thing for quite a number of years, and it's been a workhorse. But I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if a whole bunch of people say they break, then yours is probably going to break too. Don't expect to be lucky like I was with this thing. Plus, it has the angled tip, so it's not as versatile as the more drafting based pencils are that have the straight tip. Okay. So what are we looking at here? Okay, 2H. From 2B to 2H. So I want a little darker than the 4H. Almost done. Because I'm not going to do the background from the original pick. Again, no one is paying me to do this. So you're just getting your basic pencil sketch. And again, a little bit of shading there. Let's see. Well, heavier. A little bit of a shadow, not looking very good, but fuck it. Let's see, we'll do a final, like I say, there's no real white here other than his face, so we'll darken this up just a little more with the 4B pencil. Video image, okay, that's what I want. So there you go. Original me. Not fantastic, but it is done, and it is a good point to say goodbye to an overly long stream.